Alrighty, hello audience. Boy, is it weird for this to be all inverted after I just finished a Zoom meeting with a friend of mine. Let me know if you guys can hear me all right. Let me hope that this comment can be pinned. Create a poll. Oh, that's pretty cool. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. I just figured out how to do a poll on here, so that'll be nice. What videos do you want me to make? And then we will add an option. Myers-Briggs. Oh, this is fun. This is really fun, guys. Myers-Briggs gaming reviews. Am I not allowed to do a second question? Yeah, well, that'll work. Myers-Briggs or gaming reviews. Yes and no were weird. Very weird. All right, let's do a pinned comment here. Just about every question will be put into an upcoming Q&A. Alrighty, let me just open up my document here so I can write all this down. There we go. Alrighty. So, today's big news story of the day is that I quit my job. So I am currently, I don't want to say jobless because I am expecting a paycheck from that place. It's not like they're going to make me work for nothing. But I would say I'm in the point where, because of my dermatologist appointment, I do need time to have my hands and feet heal a bit before I really get on my feet a lot. So I definitely need time to allow the pain to go away. Let me see, how do I pin this? There we go. Perfect. Now we got both a poll and we got my pinned question. Now we just gotta have people show up. Let's hope so. I mean, hey, even if just one person likes this live stream, that'll make my day. So if there's an invisible person watching this, then you should know that what's really cool about this t-shirt is that this was made for our 2013 mission trip. The theme was Be Seen, Live Uncommon. And we thought, hey, this white person is living uncommon among all the other outline people. So a solid amongst semi-solids was what we were trying to go for. I barely had any input on this because my artistic abilities are about as reliable as a wet paper bag. That analogy's been overused so much. So I actually just did an interview. I don't actually have her name yet, but her name is Jenna. She's the sister of Kristen, the one that I interviewed a while back. And so my voice might be a little bit more tired than what you guys are used to, but I'm still gonna do it anyway because I love live streaming. Sometimes it tires me out, but I really like pleasing you guys, especially for those of you that have just been so loyal and supportive of my channel. It really means a lot to me. So one exciting thing that's happened recently, let me pull back a bit. So I've been expanding my physical Switch library a little bit because I had to sell most of my games to make money. So I just repurchased, well, I shouldn't say repurchased. I bought Bowser's Fury because I don't really like 3D World, so I basically bought half of a game just because I don't know if Nintendo's ever going to release it as a standalone game, and I want Bowser's Fury to be on my best games of 2021 list. I have Super Mario Odyssey, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which sadly doesn't have Banjo on the cover, but it's better than nothing. And The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. This has actually been a pretty fun game so far. I when I first played Skyward Sword, my brothers kind of didn't allow me to have my own opinions on it because they overwhelmingly hated the game. And I was like, I kind of want to make up my own mind. But now that I'm by myself and my brothers could care less about HD remakes, I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to treat Skyward Sword like it's a new game. And it's been great so far. It has been quite the experience. Let me just send a text to one of my friends real quick because she might very well want to be here. Have I even texted her before? Wow. Well, that's funny. My friend, I haven't even... that shows you how much I text. New message. Oops. I'll put this up so that you guys can see that I'm actually doing that instead of looking bored. And yes, I know my phone is old-fashioned. Just to put one sentence, my phone is this involved. Oh man, that's something else. This is what my phone's background looks like. I have no shame in saying that because that's the generic background that it came with. Wonder what all these buttons do right here. What's this one do? Oh well, must not have done anything really. So now we wait. As they say in Harry Potter. You know, sometimes I wish I could just do a showcase of everything in my room. Oh, hi, Zoe. Welcome back. I was almost about to try to pretend to be interesting. And then you showed up, and now I don't have to worry about it. But welcome back. What's been going on with your day so far? That would definitely be a question for you guys, is when I'm pretending to be interesting, am I actually interesting, or am I just a piece of work when I'm not directly interacting with someone? Some work as in a job or work as in like household chores? And thank you for voting, by the way. I definitely plan on doing Myers-Briggs in a bit. I was thinking my next episode will be about if thinking types are automatically smart by default, because I think some people get the impression that thinking types are intelligent, and not really, no. I think sometimes they're less intelligent because they stifle their emotions. Grading some papers. Wow, that is impressive. So you must be like a teacher or something. Wow. I don't know if I could ever grade papers. I would, if I were a teacher, I think how I would word it, but I would probably say, I'm not going to give you guys any letter grades because that's too abstract. What I'll do instead is I will tell you how many questions you got wrong. That way you can get a general sense of how to improve. Because if you say a B plus, it's like that could mean a whole bunch of things. And not only that, but generally speaking, teachers can be biased and they can make the grade however they want, as opposed to being objective. A professional resume writer. Dang, I would really like one of those in my life. Ooh, that's interesting. If you hear me wincing a lot during this live stream, I went to the dermatologist today, so uh, the pain comes and goes in waves, but I'm still toughing it out. As much as I would love to just lay in bed and do nothing but soak my foot, which, believe it or not, I haven't done any of that since I got in the new house. I thought, you guys are more important than me right now. Oh, that's nice that you actually have a system behind your grading, because my mom would always say, like, almost, let me show you what you missed, because I was homeschooled and all that. So I'm glad that you're not allowing your personal how do you say biases? That'll be some. I actually am relaxing right now because I've been wanting to do this live stream for a very long time. I just haven't had a chance because the walls in this house are so darn thin. But now that I have an opportunity, I'm going to take it. And not only that, but now that I quit my job, I have much more leeway to be free to do what I want. Like, yes, I'll have, like, say, hangouts and stuff to handle, but I also think it's pretty good timing that I quit my job when I did, because now I can go to the follow-up dermatologist appointments and not have to say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it because of work, or have to give a doctor's notice and lose pay. Now I can just say, okay, what's your availability? Let's do it. Yeah, so hopefully I can hide my pain enough on the camera, but if I wince too much, that's totally fine by me. Mm-hmm. I'm all right, guys. I'm totally all right. Yeah, I, I honestly feel really good about quitting that job. I know for a lot of people, they would be devastated and be like, oh, shoot, now I have to go on a job search. But ever since I was issued the third stimulus check, that has really helped me to have some spending money and to be able to help pay the bills. They gave me ice packs before the treatment, but they didn't give me anything afterwards besides a bandage. So I took some pain reliever a couple of hours ago. I might have to take some in a bit, depending on how long it's been. But the last time I had treatment on my skin, it came and went, and then eventually it went away altogether. So I imagine I'll be back to normal within 2 or 3 days. And I eventually plan on making a full-on video talking about what the heck was going on, why I kept wearing a glove. For now, I'll let you guys leave it to your imagination, but my skin is kind of a mess of all the stuff that you cannot see. Well, thank you, Zoe. I'm pretty sure I'll be better within 2 days. I don't think it's a matter of hoping. I think it's a matter of an inevitability. But I've also never been to the dermatologist before. I went to the PCP last time, and that stands for primary care physician. And she said, if you have to come back for the same reason one more time, then I think you should go to a dermatologist. So she gave me a referral, and then I took the referral, and I really liked the doctor there. She was young, which I didn't think it was possible to have a young doctor. And she was very, like, polite and willing to hear me out, which so many doctors have such bad social skills. And I'm really thankful that she doesn't seem to be one of them. So Zoe, I don't know if you were paying attention to the description, but this live stream is actually in preparation for an upcoming video I'm doing where I want to do a Q&A, but people didn't like, well, I wouldn't say they didn't like, but they thought it would be a better idea if I asked trusted people to ask the questions so that I could put them in the video. Because, how do I word this? The last Q&A I did, I wrote all the questions myself because I wanted to make sure they were G-rated. And then someone said, well, why don't you just do a small survey with like your YouTube channel? So I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do here. So if you don't want your questions to be in the Q&A, maybe like say just between you and me, or phrase it something like that, because just about anything that I see with a question mark that's related to me personally, I'm going to write down on my notebook over here. The thing you said about the pain, that I'm not going to put in the video because that's just a situational thing. Because, hey, by the time I do that, I could be all better. But if you want to ask something like, what's your favorite color? What kind of pizza do you like the most? That'll all go in it. Yeah, I generally have an easy time talking to doctors, but they don't have a good time talking to me. And my friend is actually studying to be a doctor, and she said that that's one of her goals, is to try to be an approachable doctor. So I'm really glad that she's taking into account that it can be hard for some people. That same friend is the one that, I guess you could say, advised me to start the treatment in the first place. So I'm glad that she got the ball rolling. Biggest dream or goal? Well, I'm actually going to answer all of these questions live, but then I'll later make a separate scripted video where I'll do it with actual thought out. But to answer your question right now, I would say my biggest goal in life right now is I really want to have a phone call with my friend Monica, and I just want to thank her for changing my life, and I want to just make sure that I've said everything so that by the time I die, I'll be able to say I have no regrets. I'm not going to turn into a poltergeist or I have unfinished business. I'm just going to move on, have a straight shot through purgatory, and just get right to heaven. Or at least I'm going to try. I know that some people say that that's like nearly impossible, but I want to like really make sure that I have no regrets, that I've done everything I need to, I've said everything I need to. When it comes time for my deathbed, I don't want to say, wait, Lord, don't take me just yet. I still have this sin that I forgot to confess. So that's my biggest goal. As far as my biggest dream, dream makes it sound like it's something that's in the unforeseeable future / something that I aspire to that's not necessarily realistic. So I would probably say my biggest dream is going on another mission trip, because it seems like mission trips are just about dead. And I really want to make sure that I at least go on one more, because I think it would be really cool to like, I think it would be really cool to go on this upcoming mission trip with the miraculous Eucharistic healing from the previous one coming in, and I could say to any doubters, like, if you don't believe in miracles, just look at my back. Well, I guess looking at it wouldn't do anything, but like, see how I can raise my arm all the way up without flinching. Like, that was not possible prior to summer of 2018, and I had witnesses. Good question so far, Zoe. If you can live anywhere in the world, where would you live? You're probably not going to like the answer to that question, but I would live right here. I really don't see myself wanting to move. I don't see myself wanting to travel. I see myself as very much a homebody person. Like, I'll travel if it's for a mission trip or like to go see a friend. But as far as living, I want to go wherever it's convenient. So I would say I wouldn't want to move again because moving to this house was a huge pain in the neck. And I'm hoping this is the last time I ever have to move. And hopefully, if I ever get a girlfriend, that she'll just be like, hey, Paul, I'll just move into this house with you. No. For the record, I do not believe in living with someone before marriage. I mean, I know that sometimes there are exceptions, and I know certain friends of mine that do, and I'm not judging them. I think like the pandemic was an exception with the whole go to mass every Sunday thing. So I think within reason, people shouldn't live together before marriage, but exceptional circumstances happen. What values do you think are the most important to pass down to your children? Now, when you say my children, I don't even have a girlfriend at this point, so I'm totally unsure of like if I'll even have kids, because I'm not even sure if I'm going to get married to begin with. So in this context, oh, hypothetically, that's funny. I guess I'll answer the question two ways. If I have actual biological or adopted children, I think the most important thing to pass down is the value of making sure that you make good decisions and that you use your head to make sure that you don't get in a stupid situation. So I'll be able to say like, okay, past generations have made these failures, and I really want to ensure that you don't do the same, that you don't get addicted to LSD or anything like that, because it may give you pleasure in the moment. It may help ease your problems at that time, but in the long term, it'll damage you. And I have a friend of mine who has a son who took LSD, and now he's like completely messed up in the head, and he can't even answer simple questions. And it's like, he may be an extreme example, but you still shouldn't do stuff stupid just because you're feeling bad. So that would be one thing. But if I were to say children as in the people I chaperone, which I guess would be more teenagers than children, I would really want to tell them the value of prayers that aren't answered. Because my very first mission trip, I prayed that I would never have to talk to a girl again, and that didn't happen. So that was a really good unanswered prayer, because now most of my friends are female, and most of my female friends are amazing. And I wouldn't trade them for the world. Unfortunately, I am terrified of needles, so even if I was hypothetically to be a drug addict, I don't think I could, just because I feel like there's a lot of unknown, and I've heard that it like does something to your brain where it impairs your reasoning. And no matter how miserable I am, I want to be able to keep some semblance of realism. I know there are people out there that say, but the real world stinks, Paul. I need an escape from the world. My advice to myself would be, don't try to escape from the world, just try to cope with it. So rather than trying to get away from the sensory world, instead I would just want to learn how to be in it, but not be miserable at the same time. Because like people on drugs and drinking, they can get into these cycles where they'll say things that are like outside of their normal comfort zone, or they'll like, there are people that get pregnant because they were tricked into drinking, and it's like, I really don't want to have to go through that, so I'd rather just be smart. Well, there are drugs that are done through injections. There are drugs that are done through smoking. I don't think I would ever get addicted to smoking either, because I am allergic to cigarette smoke, and I keep coughing and wheezing, and I just don't like the smell. Oh, this is an interesting. If the current phase of your life was a book/movie, what would you title it? And what would you want the next phase to be? Oh my gosh, that's probably the best question you've asked so far, because I am an author, so I do write books. I know a thing or two. I know a thing or two about making worlds. So I would say the current phase of my life would be titled He Tried His Best. Like, I want people, when I die, I want them to remember me as the guy that, even if I made a mistake, I was at least trying to do a good thing, and I just happened to do something wrong because I'm human. I can't 100% know the future, but at least I would want to be known as St. Paul the Adequate, as like my title. And as far as the next phase of my life, I want it to be called He Did It. That way people, after I die, obviously there's no going back and changing time unless, I don't know, God has a miracle that we don't know about yet. But people will be able to like do a eulogy and say like, when Paul lived, this is the kind of stuff he did. And they'll be able to say he accomplished what he was setting out to do, which was to be reconciled with anyone that he had a grudge with and to always do the right thing. And I'll be able to look down from heaven and see people at my funeral saying, he actually did it. He succeeded. And I don't really care what it is that I succeeded with, just as long as if there was something I set my mind toward, that I finished it. I would also like to finish my novel. That might take a while because I really want to make sure that I'm not rushing this novel. I want to make it so that when I send it to the publisher, it doesn't look like a my first manuscript type of deal, which I did for my for my other novel, and that was a terrible experience. Well, just saying, I want to think things through the next time I read a book. I didn't know that LSD had spiritual development. So perhaps if it's in moderation, that would be one thing. But I don't think most people are capable of being moderate when it comes to stuff like drugs because their human side takes into account. And then instead of their rational brain saying, okay, enough is enough, let's just stop, they'll just continue on a destructive path. So for example, say someone's a pornography addict, but they get into pornography not because they're actually addicted, but because they want to, I don't know, say they want to study about the human body. Say they're a doctor and they want firsthand experience with the human body. So they get pornography. And I'm talking male or female pornography because there is both. But then after they've learned everything they need to know about the body, they're like, okay, that's basic anatomy. Then they say, okay, I'm done. I'm never going to touch pornography again. It typically doesn't work like that. 99% of people are not going to be able to stop when they've seen enough. They're just going to keep going, and they're going to keep experimenting with how much further can I take this? And then they'll have to get help, and they'll have to get therapy. And it's a really involved, tedious process. And I just really hope that people really think through what it is that's giving them pleasure before they go too down a rabbit hole. And hello, all three of you that are in the chat. Don't be shy. I do hope you all are having a fantastic day, even if you don't feel like talking. I am actually having a really wonderful day. Thank you for asking, hypothetical YouTuber that hasn't written their question yet, because I just quit my job and I'm feeling really happy about it. And it's a nice breeze coming in from inside. I like this t-shirt. I haven't worn this in probably over a year, but this was a really fun shirt that we made for our mission trip. I don't think I said that to all of you, but when I went on my mission trip in 2013, we were asked to make a t-shirt based on the theme of Be Seen, Live Uncommon. And my buddy, who was a fellow chaperone at the time, said, well, the solid person is out of place among the semi-solids. So that would be a good way of being unseen. What am I the most excited about right now? This is gonna sound really lame, but I'm the most excited for Danganronpa Decadence to come on the Switch, which is scheduled for a December 3rd release, because I love the Danganronpa games. I've never played one, but I've seen people playing it because my friend was into it, and I liked to support her no matter what she was playing. And so I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of Ace Attorney, because you all know that I'm a diehard Ace Attorney fan. I would probably have an amiibo of it if it existed. And so being able to actually review those games is a dream come true for my YouTube channel. But if I have to pretend that I'm not allowed to say something that's not religious, I would say I'm the most excited about the next time I talk to one of my mission trip buddies. I'm really hoping that the next conversation I have with someone that I met on one of those trips is going to be just really incredible. And I don't know when that's going to happen because my mission trip buddies have their own schedules. And obviously, because they live out of state, we have to worry about different time zones and never being able to see each other again. But at the very least, it's going to happen eventually. So I hope that answers your question. And I hope that after Danganronpa officially comes out, that Nintendo will keep pumping out the big surprises, because for 2022, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is looking pretty nice. Breath of the Wild 2, whatever it's going to be called, is looking pretty nice as well, especially if they continue with the exploration. Oh, yes, please, Zoe. I'm not even sure if anyone else will come to the stream, and you do such good questions that, honestly, that would make for a pretty good collaboration. Like, Q&A with my audience featuring... Why did I just have a brain freeze and forget your channel? Psychology... No, that's another channel. Well, anyway, featuring whatever your channel's name is, that would be a pretty good catchphrase. I'm sure it's probably the fact that it's... Ah, yes, philosophy. That's nice. Yes, that would be pretty cool. I'm sure people that are watching this are either too shy or they're they're probably thinking, oh man, that guy's voice is totally out of whack. They don't see the Adam's apple. If I didn't have that, I would probably have a much... It would... If I didn't have an Adam's apple, I imagine my voice would be even higher than it already is. Well, every YouTuber faces a time in their channel's life where they're not heard of. Like MatPat from Game Theory used to be just one guy recording in his mother's closet, and then he turned into a huge company, and now he's one of the biggest YouTubers ever. I might just decline that "how tall are you" question, just because I prefer to let people use their imagination. But I'll simply say that I'm not short. Like, I'm not a midget by any stretch of the imagination, but I'll let people decide for themselves whether they want to believe that I'm ginormous, or if I'm average sized, or if I'm like a towering giant, or if I'm above average. Because depending on who you're with, that really affects how you see someone's height. Like, I've got my friend Anne, who's 5'9", and so for her, I imagine that most tall guys aren't really that tall to her because she looks down on most people. So if, say, I'm hanging out with a girl who's 5'2", she's going to think pretty much anyone is tall. So I think it's just much more fun to just let people decide for themselves how tall they think I am. I never really thought about elements before until you said that, but of the ones that you listed, I'd probably say water, because 1, you can drink it, 2, you can shower in it, 3, you can swim in it, 4, your body's made of 70% water, 5, Jesus was baptized in water, 6, most drinks are made with water. There's a lot of really good benefits having drinks can have, and so I would want more people to keep giving me water, and it helps me live stream longer. Speaking of water, it is now raining outside. I don't know if you guys can hear it from here, but it just started raining. So Yay, Zoe! Congratulations! You just jinxed the live stream. So if anyone's having a bad internet connection, I'm really sorry. I definitely hope that's not the case because I don't want anyone to feel like they're not welcome or that I'm scaring away anyone. Zoe, can you hear me all right? Because I chose not to wear my headphones for this stream.